Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know what you hear is not a test. We are rapping to the beat, and guess what? If you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals. We pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and in a conversational fashion. And you know, if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that you do, because let's face it, you're listening right now. And if you are, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Give us the old 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're everywhere. We're places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we would absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, we're on the Twitter, we're on the Instagram, we're on the Letterboxd, we're on the TikTok, and, well, hell, we're probably on a few other things that I've completely forgotten about, but where we're at is at In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca, for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? If we love to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it even more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So do us that kindness and pay us a visit. On this episode, boy oh boy, this was a fun one. In case you didn't already know, this past weekend it was the 50th anniversary of hip-hop rap music. That beautiful, beautiful sound that was invented in New York. And, well, as part of the celebration of that and part of all that, we had the unique pleasure of sitting down with the brand new documentary called Up In The Biz, about the life and times of the one and only Biz Markie. If you don't know who that is, it's, they say he's just a friend. Oh, baby, you know the song. I'm not going to sing it, but it is a fantastic look at the life and times of one of the more iconic and influential rappers who we have ever seen. And, I mean, people could view him as a one-hit wonder just because he really only had the one big, big song, but when we see what writer-director Sacha Jenkins has done with this, and we see the influence and sort of how he had his hands on so many influential voices in the world of rap music, and it was just amazing to see. I mean, I think it's a beautiful testament to the man that he was, but also a real love letter to rap music in general. And I mean, it really is one of those pieces of history, especially when it comes to hip hop, that feels like it's an important one to share, because I know a little bit about Biz's story, but I didn't know all of it. And I mean, like I said, we talked with the one and only Sacha Jenkins, who you've heard on this podcast before, as we talked with him about the Louis Armstrong documentary last year, which is on Apple TV Plus. You can find that interview in the archives right now. But again, this guy does a lot of good music documentaries, and this is yet another one to add to the list. If you're a rap music fan, if you're a hip hop fan, All Up in the Biz is definitely one of those important ones. It's playing on Showtime and Paramount Plus in the States. I'm not entirely sure when and where we're going to be getting it up here in Canada, but I'm sure it'll be coming sooner rather than later, somewhere either at Crave or at Paramount Plus. I'm sure one or the other will have it at some point. But first, please enjoy our talk with writer-director Sacha Jenkins as we talk a little bit of Biz Markie, because who doesn't love to do that? I mean, it's a good conversation too. So check out All Up at the Biz wherever you can, and like I said, enjoy our talk with Sacha, because it's a darn good one. All right, well, Sacha, I mean, just to kick this off officially, man, I mean, just thank you so much for the time, as always, and just congrats on the film, man. I loved it.
Thank you.
Now, I mean, walk me through, I guess, sort of the early days of wanting to tell Biz's story. Like, was he still with us? Was this after he had passed? Like, what were the early days of getting this project going?
Well, the early days, maybe 2 years before he passed away, I met with him. He reached out. He was interested in, getting a doc made about his life, and we met once or twice and had a great conversation. He was like no one I'd ever met, and just a great guy, funny guy, creative guy. I knew he was the essence of hip hop. I knew that he was the essence of hip hop, and I don't know. While he was alive, I tried to sell it, and I had no takers. And he passes away, and it's not because he passed away that I made something happen. It did happen because Mass Appeal had a whole program with Showtime called Hip Hop 50, celebrating 50 years of hip hop, and it was something that I pitched to Vinny Malhotra, who was a big supporter of mine always, and a big supporter of Hip Hop 50. So it made sense for Showtime. So that's why it came to be.
Now, I mean, just as a fan watching it, I mean, obviously I knew a little bit of his successes, but I never knew of the amount of lives in the hip hop community, in the rap music community that he had actually touched. Like when you were diving into all this, were there any sort of surprises? Did anything catch you off guard? Because I mean, again, I just did not know how influential he was with Rakim and how big of an influence he was with Kane and other guys like that.
Yeah, I had no idea that the conversations around Biz Markie would make Rakim weep. I had no idea, but um, he was so deeply inspirational to so many people because he was so disarming and just so encouraging. He encouraged his friends or anyone who he thought had talent. He really told them that they can do it. And so when you have Rakim and Big Daddy Kane, two of the most important voices in the history of hip hop, telling you that Biz Markie was the one who really pushed for them to make it, it's kind of surprising, but not surprising when you understand, as you do, as you learn who he was, like how he just oozed what the essence of what hip hop is supposed to be. And I think at a time when he was coming up, when those guys were coming up, when it was all gestating, it was just really a powerful voice, powerful enough to make Rakim weep.
Well, and I mean, again, it's one of those things that, you know, you have this vision of sort of all these guys trying to protect their spot, but just in seeing the film and just seeing Biz, it was never one of those things that was on his sort of mindset. Now, I mean, for you, obviously, as someone who has done multiple music documentaries, I mean, I can't think of that many other artists who have been so conscious of trying to lift other guys up alongside themselves.
Yeah, and I think it's because he was an underdog, and I think he was very sensitive because he was, different and under attack at a young age. And hip hop teaches you how to defend yourself through words, and so through the dozens or jokes, he became a skilled. That's a big part of hip hop that no one really talks about. This idea of the dozens and having to be really quick on your feet. I mean, people think a freestyle rapper has to be really quick on their feet, but before people were freestyle rapping, they were snapping or ranking or playing the dozens on one another. And because he was so sensitive in terms of his own, how people treated him and how he felt disrespected, he really put that energy into sort of refining himself and refining his dream. And when he connected with his dream and he saw that he could do it, a guy that no one expected anything from, these other guys who he knew were talented, probably more talented than him, he knew that he felt the passion to want to push them, and he did.
Now, I love that the film also highlights just sort of, I guess, his passion for digging, and I mean, sort of the issue around sampling, which obviously, sort of around that time when everyone was coming up, it was obviously such a big thing. I mean, how important was it for you, just especially when you're putting a film like this together? Because obviously you want to be celebratory of Biz, but I mean, there's also going to be these down moments as well, because it's one of those things where it's the issue around sampling became so divisive and so unfortunate, especially at the time. Like, was that a big point for you to sort of just show how sort of impactful it was, especially at the time when guys would lose cuts and things like that would just not happen?
I mean, it was hip hop was giving birth, and it was a painful birth, and sampling was a very troublesome delivery. But because of that troublesome delivery that Biz was sort of at the epicenter of, that changed everything. It changed how the music was made. It even changed Biz's own motivation to want to be a rapper, or he went from having that bad experience to becoming a DJ. So to me, I just saw it as the sampling issue was another important moment in hip hop history that Biz was directly involved with and helped change the culture, helped shape the culture. And so And when you think about his beatboxing, his involvement with Dougie Fresh, you think about sampling, you think about the Juice Crew, you think about all these things that he did. It's just like literally it's hip hop, it's rap, at least it's rap music. It's the essence of where it is today. The things that he did paved the way for where we are now.
No, I mean, also, I have to ask about, I guess the best way to describe it would be sort of the Muppet recreation scenes is probably the best way to describe it, because on one end, obviously, it's about a very serious moment towards the end of his life, but at the same time, just having the puppet there gave it a little bit of levity. Can you talk to me a little bit just about sort of crafting that, because it feels very much akin to who Biz was as an artist?
Yeah, well, that's honestly, when he was alive, we discussed puppets. The story that's unpacked by Master Ace with the original puppet really was an inspiration for me to want to bring another puppet into the mix. But I mean, how do you with children? I know, and a lot of times death is processed through puppets and puppetry, right? And so his character and his spirit was very like, I mean, he collected Barbie dolls. I mean, this is who that guy, he was into toys. So I felt like that really could be an interesting way to give people a window into what his life was for the last year of it in the hospital during COVID, with the only person being able to see him is his wife. There's a lot of resentment amongst his friends not being able to go and see him, but it's like it was COVID. And I wanted to do something that really felt like it was what Biz would have wanted. And there are a couple of times in the scenes, there's actual footage of Biz. You don't see his face kind of cut in with the puppetry as well. So, we just wanted to do something that felt like it would be, to me, the puppets felt very Biz.
For sure. Absolutely. Now, I mean, I'm curious, obviously, when you're getting people together to talk about him, I mean, I can imagine you had a lineup going around the door, but I mean, again, at the same time, you don't expect guys like Kane or Rakim to get emotional about this. Like, how was sort of the interview process as you were putting subjects together to really sort of give us a detailed portrait of who Biz was, not just as a performer, but as a person as well?
Well, he had such an important impact on all these people as a person. Like, it's not just with Biz, it went beyond hip hop. That's why these tears that these guys are shedding are real tears, because it's Biz the person that they loved. It's Biz the person that they really miss. I mean, they love his rap or whatever, his songs, but like his sense of humor and his outlook on life. I mean, there's a story that his friend Jeff tells of Biz getting slashed and getting his jewelry taken. And Biz is like, it's okay. There's more where that I'll get more and better. And he said, and he did just that. So his sort of positive outlook, this positive mental attitude that he had is just, he's a prime example of like how being positive really can change your life. And when you connect, when hip hop intersects with that positivity, I mean, hip hop really is just positive energy. It's an opportunity for people to express themselves, to get things off their chest, to create an identity that they can own. That's what hip hop is. So that's why who Biz Markie was makes a lot of sense for hip hop.
Well, and I mean, again, it's just one of those things, because like you said, he was this positive attitude. He had this light and this energy for the entire community. But I mean, on the other end of it, and I mean, this will be the first time I probably have to tell people to make sure that they sit through the credits and watch the entire film, because I mean, it's definitely just sort of at the segment at the end to sort of, how important was it for you to highlight just how maligned he was at the same time, and really sort of the troubles that he had for someone who was so joyous and so giving to the art form? It really felt like there was a lot in the universe who were trying to take him down a peg or try to take him out just for being who he was.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't learn about those types of issues that you learn about at the end of the film until towards the end of the film. And so I felt, as a journalist or having a journalism background, I felt I'd be remiss if there wasn't some kind of acknowledgement of what's happening in real life. I mean, artists in general, Black artists in particular, when they die, oftentimes things are a mess, and Biz Markie is no different from many other artists before him. But I felt it was important for people to understand, outside of the love and joy that people share for this guy or have for this guy, there's a lot of drama. And it was also an opportunity for his wife to once again break the fourth wall, or just kind of come out of character, which it's all very meta because she's playing herself.
Right.
So she's not really in character, but just so people understand that like this is a very real situation, and she really loved him, and it's unfortunate, and it's rare that anyone gets that kind of opportunity to say those kinds of things. And people are going to say, well, she's the executive producer, and she made that happen. That was my idea. It wasn't her idea to do that. So for the record, she didn't insist on doing that. It was my suggestion
Oh,
because I wanted people to understand. I wanted people to understand that it's not all unicorns and roses.
is this the first documentary, especially when dealing with the history of rap music, to sort of acknowledge Long Island as a borough? Because I'm just trying to think through the history, like especially when it comes to New York hip hop, it's always trying to stay within a certain core. But let's definitely sort of acknowledge, sort of, I guess, the influence that was coming from the outer boroughs, as it were.
Oh, I mean, if I didn't get into Long Island with Biz Markie, I mean, yeah, I should be, sent away somewhere. But I mean, Long Island, honestly, they're kind of important. Important. I mean, Public Enemy. I mean, Lee is a New School, Busta Rhymes,
Yeah,
EPMD.
that's true. Yeah,
I mean, the super important people, super important region that gets no love, gets no shine. So there's no way you can tell the Biz Markie story without telling the story of Long Island. And I'm sure someone will follow up with a full length doc, but I think it was important to get that in there for sure.
now, I mean, just to put a bow on this, I'm curious because obviously even the most casual fan will know and understand a little bit of his impact on rap music and hip hop. But I'm curious now, at the end of making that film, where has that needle moved for you? Because I mean, again, in watching this, I was again just so amazed at how giving he was, because again, it's not something that we equate to rap music and the community, especially at that time with guys on the come up, to be so giving and trying to elevate everyone else around them.
Right. I mean, well, I think Biz knew the real story of hip hop. Hip hop is just people.
Yeah,
It doesn't exist without the people. And so he wanted to make a community of great artists that were his friends that he could perform with, that he can turn other people on to. I mean, when Dougie Fresh tells the story of Biz Markie like traveling from Long Island to his house to listen to those tapes, the Harlem World tapes or whatever tapes he had. I mean, his mind was blown. I mean, it was such an important part of his identity that he knew that the transformation that happened for him by being exposed to that hip hop, he could do the same for others. I mean, it sounds really corny, and do I know this for sure? No, but I think his actions speak for themselves. I mean, he was about it.
for sure, man. And you know what? Just keep up the good work. Because I mean, honestly, after getting to talk to you about Louis Armstrong and now getting to talk to you about Biz, I can't wait to see what's next, man. But honestly, again, keep up the good work. And honestly, thank you again so much for the time today.
My pleasure. Look forward to the piece. Thank you so much.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.